We are back. Another week of the Mush. Corey Gibson, Adam Gorney, John Garcia Jr. Week 12. Quick recap to last week. I don't know how we did it, but 7-5 across the board. Different picks. I think my lock hit and the other two sadly did not, but that's okay. At least we made some money and we got above 500. John is chipping away, man. He's getting close, but overall records, Gorney 58-62, John 55-65, and myself 59-61, hanging on to that lead by an inch. The Joe is surviving the pros, but an awesome slate this week. I cannot wait to type this out and get everyone's opinions and picks. I'll save everyone's mercy on Iowa, but we could talk about it. It is 31 on the week. And last week, Gorney, yes, they did cover under 28. So
that was great. Yeah.
Our favorite team. We gotta talk about it early because that's why people listen to the show. For Arizona football and for Iowa unders. That's all you gotta know.
Not only did they cover the under, but they had first and goal from the 4 with like a minute and a half left and just knelt it. It was great.
They know what they're doing. I think the defensive coordinator's got the other contract where it's like if you keep hitting the under, you get the bonuses. You know what I mean? Like it was. It's my favorite line. It's my favorite thing to look at every Saturday. So it gets me through the day. All right, here we go. Louisville is going to Miami, and surprisingly for a 10 seed, they're only going to get 1 point.
Yeah, which is suspicious, which means Vegas wants you to take Louisville, which means you take Miami. So there's a sharp bet on Miami. The money's on Miami. It's a flip situation. The public is taking the bait here. So there's a lot of reasons to believe it too. I mean, Emory Williams is now out. He was certainly no savior. They were talking him up like he was the next Ken Dorsey there last week against Miami. He's a fine quarterback, but he's now hurt. So I guess they're going to go back to Van Dyke, whose confidence is at 0, or Ja'Cory Brown, whose skill level might be close to 0. So I don't love this pick, but every weird trend is favoring Miami here. So I think at some point the belief is that Louisville just sort of fades. This might be the week. I'm just going to take Miami and hold my nose.
Yeah, I have no idea what to do with this game. I was everywhere from Louisville lock of the week because why is it just a point, all the way to, you know what, the trends are for Miami. And that defense played really well against Florida State. If they could carry that over, then maybe they could shut down this Louisville rushing attack that's been so good. But I'm not sure. I'm kind of with you, Gorney. I think it stinks. It's funky. The home field advantage might not be great for the U, but Vegas is certainly not underestimating it. So I'm going to go Louisville, but not so much lock of the week. But it's more so because, again, Miami's so untrustworthy. Tyler Van Dyke is, 2 years ago an NFL quarterback, and now looks like a guy who should start thinking about, a coaching resume or something of the sort. So I'm scared of this game, so I'm not going to push for lock of the week, but I will still take Louisville because I still don't trust Miami, though that defense can carry them.
Yeah, I'm with you, John. I'm going to go Louisville here. Even though Miami did convince me last week that I should probably take him at home with the point, but I don't. I just, for some reason, there's something I cannot pick Miami this year. No matter who they're playing or where they're at, I cannot pick Miami. Just something about them just scares me. And with just getting the 1 point, I think they can handle that just fine. We move on to Rutgers and my favorite Penn State that lost me last week. 20.5, big line.
Yeah. Again, big game James comes through and with nothing. Fires his offensive coordinator after it, and it was just another ugly performance. I think he's now 3-15 against top 10 competition. So Rutgers is not top 10 competition, and they're not very good again. So I think Rutgers is fine playing some of the teams across the Big Ten. They're not as bad as they once were. But you could see last week, any formidable defense, they're going to have issues. I think they have issues here against Penn State, and a little bit of an angry Penn State team that's been questioned, and they've gone from maybe the best team in the country to just complete garbage in the eyes of many fans. So this could be a 28-3 kind of game. I love the under. The trends are all under. Rutgers on the road, unders. 14 of the last 17 games. 8 of the last 9 times these two Northeast powers have met, it's gone under. So I like the under, whatever that number is. I'll take that, but I should lead to a big underdog in that sense, but I'm going to take Penn State to cover.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, like you said, pissed off Penn State. They'll be able to go back to basics. I think they run the football with that great duo of Singleton and Allen, and Aller will look a little bit better, obviously, because he's not facing an elite defense. So I think Penn State can crush Rutgers, and Gavin wins it pretty comfortably here. I'll take the Nittany Lions to bounce back.
I do have to note as well, I believe, I just got to double check. It is, yeah. So Rutgers is the team that helped our under last week with Iowa scoring 0 points. So that helps as well. So I'm going Penn State here. Obviously, it has to be the play, especially with Rutgers not scoring anything against Iowa. I think they can handle 20.5, no problem. All right. Okay, Utah, actually pretty good matchup here. Utah going to Arizona. Our team, our love right here, the Wildcats -1.
Yeah, we love the Wildcats here, but this is a game that I'm not entirely crazy about the situation. I think Utah can muscle Arizona a little bit, where other teams like UCLA didn't have that luck. Oregon State didn't as well. And this is an early kick. This is not a night game. This isn't Pac-12 after dark. So I'm leaning Utah here. I don't love it. I think it can go either way. But Utah is 5-1 against the spread in the last 6 games that they've played at Arizona. 5-0 straight up. And this is just basically a pick 'em. This is a much better Arizona team than Utah's faced during that stretch. But I like Utah here in the early kick.
Yeah, this one's close, obviously. Two strong Pac-12 teams that I think have overperformed expectations. If you would have said, hey, Utah's going to be without Rising all year, and Arizona in general, maybe going to a backup quarterback, you wouldn't expect both programs to perform this way. Great offense versus a great defense. 5 years ago, I would have taken the great defense every time. Now I'll take the better offense. So give me Arizona in a pickle.
Yep, I'm going Arizona as well. Of course, I have to take them. I actually do think this game has a weird chance of being like a small shootout. I think I have here on the app 44.5 is the over-under. I kind of like the over here, even though I know Utah has a good defense. They're kind of saying that I think Utah's going to shut them down and they're going to squeak out that win with the -1. But I do think the over here has a weird play because, like Gorney said, they have not seen a team like this before, so they're probably maybe scheming at something else. So give me the Wildcats. Big rivalry here, old school. It probably had more momentum at the start of the year than it does now, but UCLA is going to USC at 6.5.
Yeah, so the question here is, does Chip Kelly care anymore, and does UCLA care anymore? Because the rumor is some good reporting here that Chip Kelly might be gone after this game no matter what. So does he kind of say, screw it, it's over? Or does he try to go out with a bang? I think he tries to go out with a bang. I think the players are going to try to play hard for him. Give me any points like this in a rivalry game. And the weird thing is the public has been on this, has been all over USC here, but the line has dropped from 12 to 6.5. So I actually like the over in this game. USC could probably score against anybody. They can't stop a soul. So I don't think that they could stop UCLA either. I think both teams are going to go back and forth, much like last year. Kind of can come down to a last possession or 2 last possessions. I think they're going to play for Chip Kelly hard. So I'll take UCLA here plus the points.
Yeah, I was back and forth on this one as well. Like you said, emotionally, both teams really, can they – I don't want to, can I say nut up for a rivalry game? Hey, let's get it together. Who wins the Battle of LA? I think you can make a case for either program. So, like I just said with Arizona, Utah, give me the better offense. I'll take USC begrudgingly here, only because that number has dropped, and I do think that they've still got the most firepower in this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go SC here. I'll just kind of bank on like UCLA is just giving up, and hopefully SC will just outscore them, and then I'll go with the home field advantage in the rivalry. I know everything about this game is just sloppy, and it's a 12:30 game, which is weird for this kind of game as well. So I'll bank on SC closing it out. This one was an interesting line for me. I had to double check it a couple times, but number 20 North Carolina is going to Clemson, and Clemson actually is the favorite at 7 points.
Yeah. So Clemson is 17-3 straight up in their last 20 games at home, and 5-0 straight up the last 5 games in this series. But again, this is a different Clemson team. I'm all over North Carolina in this game. I think they can score. I don't know if Clemson can keep up, and Drake May is maybe the best quarterback in the country, if not top 2 or 3. So, 6.5 is a little curious. I wish I could get it at +7, but this is a sharp bet situation, a flip situation. The public loves Clemson here. The line even though the public loves Clemson, the line has dropped from 11.5 to 6.5 or 7. So that's telling you that the suckers are on Clemson here. If you pick them, you're suckers. Take the Tar Heels.
I can't be a sucker 2 picks in a row here. So I will ride with the Tar Heels only because I do think this is a sneaky high-scoring game. That Carolina defense is pretty bad. Duke, I think, rolled out its third-string quarterback and nearly upset them in that rivalry game last weekend. So I do think Carolina can outscore Clemson. And like you said, Gorney, Drake May is the difference in this one. His last attempt to dethrone Clemson, and I think he gets it done.
I'm going North Carolina here as well. I also have a weird memory. I feel like every year with Drake, there's always that mid-season blues where they don't play as well. They lose some weird games and they close out strong, and everyone's all about them again going into next season. I think this is the turnaround point because the last couple weeks, everyone's been really down on Drake and what North Carolina's done. Obviously, they're dropping in the polls, but absolutely, you got to take it with 7 points here. Everyone's following the hype of them not playing well right now, and they'll turn it around. All right, Kansas State is going to Kansas, 8.5.
Yeah, this is the lock of the week right here.
That's what I was going to do.
Hey, we have the same lock of the week. So
I'm done with Kansas. Done with them.
Hopefully we're on the same side here. Kansas State is the lock of the week. 5-0 straight up the last 5 times they played at Kansas. Kansas State is 5-0 in their last 5 games ATS on the road. They're good on the road. They've won, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 in a row in this series, and many of them have been blowouts. 20 last year, 25 the year before that, 41 the year before that, 28 the year before that. This is not a rivalry game. Kansas State blows Kansas out when they play. I'm shocked that the number is only 8.5 because then you look at Kansas State's schedule. They killed Baylor last week, but everybody kills Baylor. They came back to almost beat Texas. They blew out everybody else they've played. They lost to a good Oklahoma State team on the road. And they lost to a good Missouri team by 3 in a game that they probably could have won. So I think Kansas State is really a very good football team. Kansas is okay. They've had some big wins, obviously. They beat Oklahoma. They went to Iowa State and won. But they lost to Texas Tech. They got blown out by Texas. I just don't see it. So I'm going to take Kansas State here. I think they're probably maybe the 3rd best team in the entire Big 12. Kansas somewhere 5, 6, 7. So Kansas State big, lock of the week.
Yeah, great minds think alike. I think Kansas, we've ridden them positively against, underdog scenarios or teams that want to, throw the football and get into a shootout scenario. Kansas has been able to compete with those. But when it's not the case, I don't see it. And Kansas State obviously brings a blue-collar run-first mentality, going to bring multiple quarterbacks to the table, and they can always run the rock on top of it. And they play, of course, great defense. So that Kansas offense, the inconsistencies there, really had a chance, I thought, last week to make a statement and beat Texas Tech, even with the quarterback change and the quarterback situation. I think down to their 3rd stringer, they really had a chance to win that one. So them failing and dropping my lock of the week for Kansas naturally, I'm on the revenge tour. So Kansas State, lock of the week. This will be a double-digit victory.
I was never going to go Kansas. I'm going to go Kansas State here, but you made me nervous and almost tempted just to go Kansas because you guys are so strong about Kansas State. It's like maybe I just have to, but no, I can't. I almost was going to have like a whole speech about how I love Kansas State so much this year, and I think I'm 0-2 with them or whatever times we picked them in the show, and they're probably my betting curse because I'll always pick them, and they might fail me, but I'm happy that you guys convinced me to stick with my gut here. But yeah, Kansas State, obviously, with all the quarterback issues. All right, Washington is going to Oregon State, and it's 2.5.
Yeah, this is kind of one of the games of the week. This is definitely a watch out game for Washington that can knock them off. The stat here that really interests me is that Oregon State is 12-1 ATS in their last 13 games. So has Vegas finally come around and given them respect? It is interesting. Oregon State started +2 in this game. The public bet it, and then Vegas is following that line to -2.5. That's also interesting. Every sign is kind of pointing to Oregon State here. Sharp play, public slightly on them, but money following big. Maybe something's going on that I don't know about Washington here, but I'm going to take the Huskies. I think it's tight, but I think they win. Now, this could be a situation where Oregon State kind of runs over them, but Washington can score and stay in games. So this might be the sucker pick of the week, but I'm going to take Washington.
I guess I'm a sucker too, because I just think Washington has found ways to win. We thought they could win a shootout against Oregon. They did. And they had to gut some out against Utah and some other programs that gave them a run for their money, a surprising run for their money. So I think they're battle tested. They've probably already played their dud game this year. They're too close to rivalry weekend, to conference championships, playoffs, and all that to have the dud this late in the year. So that passing game will travel with Michael Penix, and their defense has been opportunistic. So, yeah, I think Washington getting points is incredible, in any scenario this time of year. So give me the Huskies.
Yeah, Arizona State was the dud game. I mean, they looked completely terrible in that game. Disinterested, did not look good. Obviously, Oregon bailed them out with some really, really bad play calling and decision-making down the stretch where Oregon really should have won that game. But I don't get it. I think this is a little too favorable for Oregon State. I'm going to take Penix over Uiagalelei.
I'm telling Big Dave.
Be tweeting you in 3, 2,
1. You know me. I got to go Washington. I don't care who they're playing. Maybe if they play Georgia, I'd maybe swing another way. But I'll always go Washington. They look great this year, especially if they're going to get the points, and they have not let me down at all this year. Maybe one time they let me down, but always got to go the Huskies. They look so good, and they're going to go for it, as I've said all year. My favorite team, Florida, is going to Missouri in 11.5.
Yeah. This is time for Billy Napier to kind of start worrying a little bit, I think, which is a little ridiculous. He's not even through year 2, but they're sort of playing worse. I mean, they are not looking like a good football team at all. Now their recruiting class is sort of cratering. They've lost 3. There are definitely some others on the ropes. They've lost 3 straight. Georgia and LSU are understandable. That Arkansas loss was completely hideous. Who I thought Ole Miss was, Missouri is. So, I thought Ole Miss was going to be the team that went to Georgia and kind of really tested that defense, and it wasn't. Missouri was actually the team that did that. Based on all those factors, I think Missouri's feeling themselves a little bit more, and I know they stand on business because Eli Drinkwitz told that to Josh Heupel after the game. I don't even really know what that means, but it seems like a good saying. So I'm going to take Missouri here. I just don't think Florida has much left in the tank.
Yeah, this Florida defense is broken. They've got all the talent. You know, they've recruited well despite all the coaching changes, but they're not cohesive in any way. And while this Tiger is not the LSU Tiger offense, they're going to be able to put up points in a similar fashion. You know, Missouri's totally balanced on offense, but the difference is they're going to run the ball at Florida, so they can control the clock and possession a little bit more than even LSU did in that crazy game. So, yeah, I think Missouri's comfortable here, especially at home where the Tigers have been really good. So, yeah, Florida's totally stocked down. Bail while you can at this point. And even if they're looking ahead to Florida State, you know, another reason to maybe pick Missouri here.
Yeah, I got to go Missouri here. That's absolutely the play. Gorney, I'm happy you said it because as much as Florida has messed with me all year on this show, they just seem to be getting worse and worse and worse. But I can't be the one to say it because I can't pick them in anything we do here. But absolutely, I'm going to go Missouri. Those receivers are electric there, and that'll be actually a pretty fun game. So,
what does that mean, though? We stand on business, like we let our game do the talking.
But then you wouldn't have to say it.
Yeah, why would you say it if you stand on it?
I think you know Georgia stands on business, and Ohio State, and you could sit on business.
Okay, Missouri, you've had your run here. Okay,
what do they always say, Gorney? Like let the coaches coach. All right, let them
let the coaches coach.
All right, Texas is going to Iowa State, and I thought the line actually surprised me. It's 7.5.
Yeah, this line dropped too, so the public's all over Iowa State here. I don't really get why. I mean, I get it. Like Sark can't keep a lead. I mean, it is pretty phenomenal to watch. I mean, they get up and then they're all brakes, no gas.
They don't stand on business.
They don't stand on business. They're all brakes, no gas after a lead. So, yeah. So, God, I hate to do it because I think Iowa State has actually found offense in Rocco Becht. This is a team that looked very good last week against BYU, and they really stood on their business because in the second half they came out and kind of kept the pedal to the metal there. They can throw it around a little bit. They're a little more comfortable. It seems like Matt Campbell is kind of settled down a little bit about having to grind it out and try to be Iowa 2.0. They're actually a lot better on offense than your brain has been programmed to believe. But the under in this game is the trend. 5 of the last 5 times they've played, under. 8 of the last 9 times Iowa State has been home, under. But Texas is 9-1 in their last 10 games. There's a sharp bet on them. I don't love it either way. I hate the hook. But I think this is sort of a 28-17 Texas win. So I'm going to take the Longhorns.
Yeah, you know, Iowa State's defense is also, you know, kind of heated up a little bit over the last month or so. And yeah, shout out to Rocco Becht. Glad he got the name drop on the pod, you know, fellow Floridian. But look, this is Texas. Again, we talked about it with Washington. The eyes on the prize, you're right there. You're right there in the last year in the Big 12. You're on the doorstep of the playoff potentially, depending on how these last few weeks shake out. You just can't have the letdown. So at some point, you got to stop the bleeding with that second half lull. So maybe this is it because Iowa State will push. So I do think Texas can win. But that line dropping did make me consider Iowa State just a little bit more, but not quite enough. I think Texas wins. Yeah, 31-21. I'm kind of in that ballpark.
Absolutely. Texas is the play, even though Rocco did go viral for me one time at a rival's camp with this hair flip, but no, not enough. I'm still taking Texas with that line. Absolutely no problem. All right, we will end the show. Gorney, I caved. I saved it for one of the big games of the week just for you, for our listeners. They had to wait till the end. The Dogs are going to Tennessee, 10.5.
Yeah, very interesting game and line. The way Tennessee has been playing recently, you think 10.5 is no problem. The way Georgia's been playing recently, you think 10.5 is no problem. But so does the public. 90% of all bets are on Georgia at 10.5. So, God, man, I hate to bet against Georgia, even though they're ATS, I think they're 3-5-1 or something, 4 or 5-1 now. Has not been great. I'm going to take Tennessee. I just if everybody is betting on Georgia and the line isn't skyrocketing, and this is one of the biggest games of the week, and there are a lot of sharp people in Vegas casinos who are putting the number on there. They have psychologists on staff to try to trick your brain into believing something. I don't see it. So I'm going to take Tennessee. I think they lose 38-28, maybe a backdoor cover. Something weird happens, like an injury. I don't know, but I just have to go with my principles. What I see with my eyes, Georgia wins this game 38-10. But what I see with the wallet is that they want us to pick Georgia, which means you pick Tennessee.
I've avoided a couple sucker bets, but not this one. I think I've got to dive in here. Obviously, look, we talk about dud games a lot, and on the opposite side of that, you've got your oh wow games. Obviously, Georgia just showed us that against Ole Miss after the first, that 14-14 tie. They hit another gear that we hadn't seen them get to this year. So I do think that their effort might not be attainable again back-to-back weeks, and you're going on the road to Neyland, and all of that does factor in. But 10.5, that's where it's at. I mean, the ATS numbers aren't great for Georgia, but they've had huge spreads, 20-plus all year. I think this is reasonable. And Tennessee, conversely, man, what a dud against Missouri. They played their dud game last week. They will bounce back and look better. They won't lose by as much, but I do still think it will be by more than 10.5. This is, 34-20 maybe, something like that. I think the Dogs roll again.
Gorney, I'm so sad. We've been doing this show for 12 weeks, and what do I always say? You trust the dogs, you trust your eyes. And what do? You go against the dogs, and you say, my eyes say this, but it's sad. And I know the dogs aren't great on record, but I have my rules. John's now in. What did we do last week, John? We win this game. We're getting to 7 points, and we might regret this, but we'll say we'll wave at Gorney on our way out in the rearview mirror. Whatever that saying is. It's fine, Gorney. It's fine. We'll just take the dogs. We're with the people. The people know. The people watch this podcast. They know the rules. That you never go against the dogs.
All I remember is everybody picked Alabama with Bryce Young. Oh, he's so great. Oh, he's the best. And then they were carrying those. They were carrying the goalposts into the Tennessee River, baby. They were smoking cigars on the field. And that's exactly what might happen on Saturday afternoon.
No, ain't no Hendon Hooker out
Carolina this year. This show's brand new. There's a new cast this year. There's new rules. That's last year. We got a more. If that game had a more mobile quarterback, you never know. You never know. Just kidding. All right. Well, shorter week, only 10 games. I'll just do my quick lock of the week or the recap. You guys both pick Kansas State. I'm actually going to ride the hype. I'm going to go with Northwestern at home against Purdue, and they get 3 points going with the new coach. I don't know why I picked this game. I just kind of like it. It's the most Joe pick ever, but I'm going to take it. I think they beat Wisconsin last week when Tanner was back. They look good. They're going to play hard for their coach, and that is totally fine with me. And I got a weird feeling that they're going to at least try to win out the season to get the fans and have the players be behind the coach. So that is it. That's another week of the mush. That's the lock of the weeks. I hope everyone wins all their games and wins lots of money. And please always like, subscribe, and comment. Please follow us all on our social media platforms or just the Rivals page in general. Once again, I'm Corey Gibson. That's Adam Gorney, John Garcia Jr. This has been the Mush. See you guys. Thank you.